Hey, what's up everyone? It's Dolbeck. Today I'm gonna speak about what Trudeau did for the Canada. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't want to speak against people, so I'm gonna try to be neutral about this. Everyone is bashing Trudeau so hard right now that I don't feel like I need to attack him more. I feel like he's a victim right now and people are just fucking ganging up on him. So let's start by what he do, and then let's look a video that roast him. All right. So let's go with the AI. I just put some question into the AI, like what Trudeau did for the Canada, and then I just keep asking the same question till the AI have nothing to say. So let's get straight into it. So Trudeau canceled the outdoor rally in the Greater Toronto area in 2021 because of the anger of the protester. Alright, so he canceled an outdoor rally. It just show weakness. He announced a plan to reduce Canada's greenhouse gas emission by 40 to 45% by 2030 to compare it to 2005. What? Why 2030 mandate is only 4 year, bro? What the fuck is that? And the greenhouse? Talk about car gas emission, not greenhouse, dude. He attended G7 summit in 2021 and reaffirmed his commitment to democracy, human rights, and multilateralism. So it just said nothing. It just said that it's approving stuff that is already happening. It just make no sense. So you go to the G7 and the only thing he say just reaffirm stuff that we already know. It don't say anything useful over there. Bro, you have the chance to participate into a great event like that. He presented a budget in 2021 that includes spending of 100 billion over 3 years to revive the economy after the pandemic. Sheesh, they need to do more research on the subject because it's not really the job of the government to revive, but at the same time, they fuck it up so many people that they had to do something. It was pretty hard to be a government during the pandemic. Like people complained that the price go high and shit, but it was hard during the pandemic to make it not happen. He won the Liberal Party of Canada nomination in the Papineau riding in 2007 and was re-elected in 2011, 2015, 2019, and 2023. Okay, so he have charisma. Doesn't mean anything else for me. He signed a free trade agreement with the European Union 2016 and another one with Pacific country in 2018. Okay, but is it really a change? We was not trading with them? Need more research on that subject. He welcomed more than 40 Syrian refugees to Canada between 2015 and 2016. Everyone complained that there's too much refugee. He legalized cannabis. Yeah, nah, not everyone is happy about that. I think it's a good change. He gave 30 more money, 30 times more money to the international strategy consulting firm. What the fuck? What the fuck is that shit? McKinsey and company. Let's see. What the fuck is that shit? Um. So he cannot make strategy by himself. You have to spend money into a fucking company for that. What the fuck? He appointed Canada's first indigenous justice minister. Bro, who care? When if it's more like the indigenous minister did it by herself. There's nothing wrong about that. He introduced carbon tax 2019, reduced greenhouse gas emission, fight climate change. People are complaining a lot about that carbon tax. Created a Ministry of Middle Class Prosperity 2019 to address the concern of Canadians who fell behind the economy. That's not bad. I mean, we need that. Some type of stuff like that that help the middle class for sure. He negotiated with President Joe Biden to ease the immigration tension on US-Canada border in 2023 after a surge of migrants seeking asylum in Canada. People say that there's too much immigration. He maintained high approval rating amongst Canadians through this candidate, despite facing several scandals and controversy. That's true. But you're gonna see there's a lot of baby boomer who like him for some reason. He have a lot of charisma. He overhauled his cabinet in 2022, dropping 7 ministers and shuffling most portfolio in a bid to renew his government and prepare for the next election. Well, he did it again in 2023, so it's twice. He won majority government in 2023 federal election, defeating conservative Pierre Oliver. Oh, he already defeated him, but he's gonna face soon again. Oh, he separated from his wife, Sophie, after 18. So it just happened this year, bro. Damn. The people that are attacking him right now when he's weak. He just loses his wife. He had 3 children together. Holy fuck. He appointed Harit Saijan as the new Minister of Defense, Anita Anand as the new Minister of Public Safety. Following allegations, okay. So he changed 2 ministers. Really big deal. He called it the snap election. But you see, if he chose the 2 wrong ministers and then he have to change them, it's his fault in theory. Because it was his choice to add those 2 ministers that did sexual misconduct. He called it the snap election in 2023, hoping to capitalize on his popularity and economic recovery after pandemic. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do the recovery after. He faced a challenge from conservative Pierre Olivier, who accused him of being weak, corrupt, and out of touch with ordinary Canadians. That's true that he's out of touch. Corrupt, I hope he can bring some proof for those allegations. But yeah, man, like it's pretty hard to prove. I don't know, man. There's behind all that money, there's paper, and if he's really corrupted, he can bring proof. It's fact. He replaced Chrystia Freeland as the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister with Mark Carney, former Governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England 2022. Yeah. So he just changed some people again. He made the case for more time in power at Liberal Convention, highlighting his achievement in climate change, reconciliation, healthcare, and social justice. Uh, there's some change in the healthcare. It need to change. Like we need like it's pretty hard right now in Canada. The healthcare was shit past 20 year, and if you can really, if you really push in that, and we spend the money during a moment more because of that, I mean it's not a bad thing. Like we need to have a better healthcare, and yeah, it's pretty hard. We need to cut too because the tax is high, but yeah, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. Climate change. A lot of people say that the climate change it's a fake thing, but one thing is sure is the pollution is a fact, and we need to do less pollution. But the climate change is a reality, is not a reality. Like it's still a theory.
Trudeau just dropped another disgusting lie covering his own ineptitude and failed leadership. As usual, he is always thirsty to score cheap political points. And another opportunity presented itself for the Castro look-alike on Monday in Hamilton, Ontario, where he was making a housing announcement. Welcome back to Street Politics Canada. Earlier this week, Trudeau flashed his propaganda sword at Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, arguing that Poilievre's approach to combating the high cost of living in Canada is only to spread hate among Canadians. Trudeau accused Poilievre of relying on fear and anger to address the issue, rather than implementing effective solutions. He also specifically mentioned Poilievre's opposition to the new federal dental care program, which Trudeau claimed has provided dental care to hundreds of thousands of families. During his address, Trudeau was questioning why Poilievre would vote against a program that helps vulnerable Canadians. The answer is simple. It is because Trudeau's dental care policy is helping no one. Increasing taxes, skyrocketing government debt, expanding regulations, soaring inflation, and rising interest rates are the policies and circumstances that have defined Trudeau's tenure as Prime Minister since 2015. Many Canadians are believing it would most eventually culminate in a near crisis, and of course, a Freedom Convoy protest is one to reckon with on this assertion. During his Ontario address, Trudeau highlighted the challenges faced by many Canadians in making ends meet, despite a drop in the rate of inflation. According to him, solving problems requires more than just scaring and angering people as Poilievre does. He argued that building a stronger economy and addressing the cost of living requires effective policies and solutions. But then, the opposite is the case. Canada's economy is propped up on debt, mountains and mountains of debt, and it's all starting to crumble. Remember that while inflation decreased from 8.1% to 2.8% in June 2023, the cost of living remained high. Food prices increased by 8.3% compared to the previous year, and the cost of shelter rose by 4.8%, while the Bank of Canada's interest rate hikes contributed to a 30.1% increase in mortgage servicing costs.
But you see, the people who make those videos often forget to think that we had the coronavirus that did a bunch of the inflation is a big part is because of that. Like it's my way of thinking. Like there's for sure the regular inflation, but yeah, like during the Trudeau minister, there was for sure the corona too. Like I don't want to defend him too much because I know he's not the best, and but they all the politicians are corrupted in their essence when you think about that.
In the
I
same
don't think
vein,
Pierre
according to recent
Olivier is
reports
not
of household debt,
corrupted.
Canada has the highest household debt among G7 countries, and the amount owed by Canadian households is higher than the country's entire GDP. And if you're wondering what the major drive is, your guess is as good as mine. It is the sporadic high home prices in Canada orchestrated by the policies made by Trudeau and his inept cabinet members. And of course, this is the truth that the majority of Canadians don't really know. The housing crisis in Canada is a new issue that started during Trudeau's administration. During the entire Harper era, housing affordability remained steady and reasonable, with approximately 40% of the average family income allocated for monthly housing costs on an average single detached home. However, the current situation has seen a significant shift, with housing costs now taking up 70% of the average family income. In the same vein, an article in Fortune magazine reveals that the average home in Canada now costs twice as much as in the United States, which is surprising considering Canada's population is almost
Twice.
10 times smaller than America's, and it has much more land available for development. Although, there is no denying that the cost of housing has increased in many places around the world.
But
Still,
you need
Canada.
to remember, we need to make some road to travel to one place or to another. In Canada, we have so much space that we need to build roads a mile and mile long, and then we have the winter that destroy the road, and we need to take care of them. That's pretty hard, man.
Canada stands out with even higher prices and more severe shortages compared to almost any other country on the planet. Vancouver and Toronto have reached the ranks
We have a lot of water, a lot of bridge, and the bridge break a lot too.
of the third and 10th most unaffordable cities globally. Surprisingly, they surpassed the likes of New York, London, and Singapore in terms of housing affordability, despite the latter locations having a much higher population density, with 2,000 times more people per square kilometer in Canada. Was it always this way? No, it wasn't. 8 years ago, the average home price in Canada was $454,976, and today has risen to $729,000. As a result of the increase in house prices and interest rates, a buyer purchasing a typical home now is dealing with monthly mortgage payments of $3,298 compared to $1,418 8 years ago. All of these stats are glaring to the Prime Minister himself. But clown blackface, Chinese-loving Trudeau only tells Canadians not to fear the massive debt and interest charges, the unsustainable house prices and lack of housing, and the record food bank usage, and 10% increases in food prices and the doctors and nurses shortages. It's not only funny that amidst all these, Trudeau expects Canadians to remain happy, not angry, and vote for him. But he will also shift the blame on Pierre Poilievre for making Canadians hate it. The truth is Canadians are angry at Trudeau. It is pointless for the Prime Minister blaming the person pointing it out. On another head, Trudeau's jealousy dismissed concerns about Poilievre's leadership at the sample polls. He touts that he is instead focused on the need to help Canadians who are struggling financially. Of course, this just doesn't add up. Trudeau rolls up the sleeves of his dress shirt and pretends to solve Canadians' problems. But in reality, he's only been throwing money and escaping on his jet. To anywhere. The latest report on Canada's inflated budget clearly proves this. Accordingly, the report suggests that the Liberal government's spending measures have widened the budget deficit by nearly $10 billion in the fiscal year of 2023 to 2024. The deficit is estimated to be $40 billion, or 1.4% of GDP, up from the 1.1% of GDP in the fall economic statement back in November 2022. The government unveiled $67 billion in new spending measures on priorities in a budget titled A Made in Canada Plan: Strong Middle Class, Affordable Economy, Healthy Future. However, the report specifically noted that the Liberals' budget would potentially lead to a significant economic slowdown that could put government...
And you see that company that we spoke about just before, like the Canada give some money to a private company so they can take strategic choice for us. That sounds like the strategic choice are not really good, man. I think that's that private company that we need to go fucking sue or something.
Government finances on an unsustainable path. And in another report by Statistics Canada, the cost of food has increased by 3.7% since last year, with some items such as meat and fresh vegetables experiencing even higher price increases. The high cost of food has also been linked to health concerns, with some experts warning that the rising cost of healthy food options could lead to an increase in diet-related illnesses. A report by the CBC highlighted the impact of rising food prices on Canadians' health, with many Canadians being forced to choose between buying healthy food and paying bills since then. And right now,
Makes sense.
it's so bad that many Canadians are still calling on the Trudeau government for more affordable food options, as well as policies that will help to make food more accessible to all Canadians, all to no avail. So much for a government that claims to be helping Canadians' finances. Trudeau has only been implementing policies that encourage rising labor costs, increased costs of inputs such as fertilizers and pesticides, and higher transportation costs coming from his crazy carbon tax hike. All of these, but Trudeau would rather play his blame games to score cheap political points with Canadians. Unfortunately, it no longer works. The truth is Pierre Poilievre highlighting how poor of a job they are doing is not divisive. Justin Trudeau's gaslighting Canadians into thinking things are good and pitting them against each other to achieve his clown message is what's divisive and fuels Canadians' anger. Meanwhile, in response to Trudeau's housing announcement, a spokesperson for Poilievre has noted that Trudeau's policies have only enabled obstacles to housing construction. The spokesperson stated that Poilievre's approach would involve removing these obstacles. This includes requiring big cities to permit 15% more homes to be completed as a condition of getting their full federal infrastructure transfer, giving building bonuses to cities that exceed the 15% target, requiring massive apartment and condo projects around every federally funded transit station, and selling off 6,000 federal buildings for housing. Also, Poilievre's plan also includes balancing the budget, bringing down inflation, and ensuring affordable housing upon being elected as the next Prime Minister. We want to hear your thoughts on this issue. Do you agree with Trudeau's approach or Poilievre's approach? Let us know in the comments below. Also, kindly subscribe and leave a like for this video and our other videos because they go a long way in helping our latest content rank.
Yeah,
Follow us
man.
on our new Twitter.
Yeah, man. Like this. And so, what I think about that? I think that's good to change. And yeah, probably have to go to Pierre Oliver. If Trudeau was really good, I mean, he's Minister of Canada. He's like the Prime Minister of Canada, and his wife left him. after 18 years being married while he's minister. Like, that's weird. That's weird. For me, that's a bad sign. Peace out.